I'd like to do the play-by-play of those teams.
Oh, there you go.
That would be awesome. Here's the Bambino, you know. Freddie Garcia already. Here's the windup in the pitch. You know, that would be a really fun game to do. We ought to do that sometime.
You've done that before, haven't you?
Well, I recreated when I was in the minor leagues, when I was in Amarillo, Texas for 2 years in 1976 and 77. We didn't travel to save some money. And I would start the game a half an hour after the game started, say in El Paso. And then I tried to stay about a half an hour behind the ball game because our starting pitcher the night before, we paid him $10, was in the press box and would just give me the basic information, 6-3, fly out to 7, single, strikeout. Then I would make up everything else. So, yeah, I did recreated games for 2 years while I was in the minor leagues. It was a lot of fun sitting in the studio running the crowd noise tape. So that put everybody at the ballpark. Then at spring training, I recorded on my cassette recorder the bat hitting the ball at spring training. Then I recorded it over and over and over again onto a cart. So every time I hit the cart, I would have, you know, the bat hitting the ball over the crowd noise. Then I'd have cheering, you know, if something good happened, but it would have to be for the home team, which was the team we were playing. And so I had to engineer the game and broadcast the game, you know, at the same time. So, yeah, I did that for 2 years. It was fun.
That is amazing. Did you ever like totally lose your mind trying to do all that?
Yeah, sometimes. The problem was when I would get too close to the ball game and I needed some information. So I had to, you know, really try to slow things down. But a couple of times, you know what I did? I made it rain one time. You know, I had the power to have a little rain delay. We got a little shower coming in from the left field corner, so I made it rain for about 5 minutes so I get some information, you know, to do some play-by-play. And then one time I had our second baseman, Gino Moniz, set a Texas League record with 14 foul balls and a single at bat. But one time, the greatest thing I ever did was I got close to a ball game, was down in El Paso, and it was pony night. And way back in the many years ago, in the dark ages of minor league baseball, they had crazy promotions, and they sometimes would have pony night. Would they actually give away a pony? Well, it was actually pony night at Diablo Stadium in El Paso, Texas. We're playing the El Paso Diablos. And so I got too close to the game, and I already had it rain one time, and I did the foul balls. So I had the pony get loose. Of course, I made all this up. I had the pony get loose from the bullpen down the right field line and run onto the field. And I had our right fielder, Rocky Craig, chase this pony all over the ballpark. As he'd get close to the pony takes off and runs farther out toward the left field line. And Rocky, you know, stayed true. He was resolute to try to go grab this pony while everybody was laughing. So he chased his pony all around the ballpark for about 5 minutes, finally corralled the pony, got the pony back. And then I had enough information to continue with the ball game. But the funny part about the story is that when the Gold Sox came home, I was with the Amarillo Gold Sox. Some lady came up to Rocky Craig, said, "Hey, Rocky, the other night on pony night, that was the funniest thing I ever heard on the radio." She goes, "What?" "That you chasing that pony around the field, you know, for about 5 or 10 minutes. And he knew that, you know, I was up to something. So he kind of went along with it, thank goodness. And he came up to me and he said, 'Hey, Rick, what did you have me do in El Paso?' I said, 'Oh, I needed some time, so it was pony night, and I had the pony get loose, and you chased this pony all around the ballpark for about 5 minutes.'" He says, "That's awesome. That's great." So we still laugh about it to this day. We still talk about that. But yeah, it was fun recreating. A lot of work, but it was fun.
I'm in. We need to do that. We definitely need to do that.
Let's do it.
What was the craziest or goofiest or a favorite promotion that you ever saw in your minor league days?
Short night. We had short night. We needed some people coming to the ballpark, so I told our general manager, who's my best friend, John Dietrich. We went to college together. He gave me my first job in Alexandria, Louisiana. I was a clubhouse guy and did 3 innings of play-by-play. Then we moved the franchise to Amarillo, Texas. And we were playing well. We had a really good ball club in 1976. We won a Texas League title. Harold Reynolds' older brother, Donnie Reynolds, was my roommate and starting left fielder. He was a really good ball player. So we wanted to get kids into the ballpark, and I said, "Why don't we have short night?" I said, "I'll stand out by the front gate. Everybody shorter than me will get in free." Of course, there was a lot of kids and everything. So somebody came up a little bit taller than me and said, "Sorry, you got to go over there. You got to go pay." So we had short night, and it really drew well. We had a lot of kids in the ballpark, and so that was one of the more interesting promotions we've ever been associated with in the minor leagues. But we had a great team, and we did a lot of fun things. We built the world's largest banana split on the 4th of July, and we had some crazy things. Bob Feller, I saw the San Diego Chicken many times, but my favorite though was Max Patkin. I spent, Shannon, 8 years in the minor leagues, and I'm telling you, one year I think I maybe saw Max about 8 times. Wow. And we always had Max every year. I love Max, and he put on such a great show, the Clown Prince of Baseball. Mm-hmm. And Bill Veeck was the one that got him started, in the business. And one day, he was at our ballpark at night, and he had to get home to Philadelphia to see his daughter for her birthday, but he couldn't get a flight out of Amarillo to get to Dallas to get to Philadelphia. And I said, Max, I'll tell you what I'll do. I said, I'll drive you after the game in Amarillo to Dallas. Get yourself an early morning flight, and I'll get you on that flight in Dallas so you can get to Philadelphia. So after the game, he stayed and signed autographs, jumped in my car, he drove 8 hours to Dallas, dropped him off at the airport. He made his flight. I still have a postcard, in my desk from him. Yeah, and he made his flight, went home to Philadelphia, and I drove back 8 hours for the game the next night. So I love Max Patkin.
That is amazing. What a piece of baseball history right there. That is fantastic.
Yeah, he was a great guy.
I think we are going to have stories with Rizzy on a little bit more of a regular basis. I haven't even heard all of these yet. This is great.
Well, you're bringing up the minor leagues, and 8 years in the minor leagues, you run into a lot of interesting people along the way, managers that I worked with, and different players, wacky players, talented players that, eventually made it. We had a left fielder when I was in Columbus, Ohio, by the name of Don Mattingly, because our first baseman was Steve Balboni and Marshall Brandt, two really good. Marshall Brandt was a great AAA player. I think he had a cup of coffee in the big leagues for a little while. And Steve Balboni was an outstanding player, but there was no room for him at first base. But then when Balboni went up to play first base, and we got Donnie as our first baseman, and became one of the best first basemen in the 1980s and early 90s. Played in his last game in the Kingdome in the 1995 American League Division Series when Edgar hit that double. That was Don Mattingly's last game in the big leagues. Great guy, never changed one bit. I love Donnie.